what is the stat that you would look to from the regular season for you that you would say is your favorite stat of this season? And I want to ask you the follow-up question of, you've called this the most unpredictable season you've covered in 45 years. How is that possible?
Well, I believe it is, Dan, for this reason. This season, I counted the Blue Jays out multiple times, and then they won the division. I counted the Mariners out multiple times, and then they won their division. Every team that made the playoffs in the American League this year, at one point, at least privately, I said they're not going to make the playoffs. And then 6 of them did. The lesson that we learned from 2025 is just when you think you understand the game, you realize that you don't. Because a team, you look at them and say, this team stinks. And then they win 8 games in a row. And then you say, this team is really good. And then they lose 7 games in a row. That's the unpredictable nature that I'm talking about. Is I like to think I understand what I'm watching, but I've been wrong. We've all been wrong so many times this year. It has been ridiculous with the Mets, with the Yankees, with just about every team you look at and say, I missed on them. That's why this has been such an interesting season.
Does Hunter Pence look like the pirate forced to walk the plank after a failed mutiny against his captain, Jeff Samardzija? What is your favorite stat from the regular season? Do you have a favorite? I know you've got so many of them in the bank. It's hard to ask you for just one.
All right, so I'm going to give you 2, okay? Shohei Ohtani is going to win the MVP again this year. He struck out 187 times. So he's going to have the second most strikeouts ever in an MVP season with 187. And he is the record holder at 189. So the 2 greatest strikeout seasons during an MVP year are both held by Shohei Ohtani, who is the best player in the National League. He's going to win the unanimous MVP again this year. He's the most remarkable player anyone has ever seen, and yet he strikes out all the time, proving again that the stuff that we see in the big leagues right now is unbelievably good. I mean, these guys have no shot against the pitching that we see today unless a guy misses location. So that's one stat, and it's just showing you what the strikeout rate is like. The other thing is we hit home runs at an outrageous rate. We have 19 3-homer games, individual 3-homer games this year, 19. And it's not even the record. The record is 21 3-homer seasons. Keep in mind that Hank Aaron had 1 3-homer season.
3-homer
game. One 3-homer game in his career. Gary Sheffield, David Ortiz, Rafael Palmeiro had no individual 3-homer games in their career. And 19 different guys had a 3-homer game, and 3 of those had a 4-homer game this year. The point is, this is what we play today. You hit the ball out of the ballpark or you strike out, and there's not much in between. Now, we're getting a little closer to the game we used to play 40 years ago, where the ball's in play more, guys are stealing bases, the Brewers and the Blue Jays run all over the place and make somebody stop them. That's a good sign, but we're still in an era where the strikeout rate is ridiculous. We will have more 100 strikeout guys this year than from 1900 to 1963 combined. That's what we look at these days, and everyone seems to be okay with everybody striking out 100 times and everybody just trying to hit home runs. But I would like to see us go back to a different game, the game that we played 40 years ago.
Does Freddy Freeman look like the neighbor who always waves first and means it?
Listen, speaking of looks like, you gotta look this up, Dan. Ernie Clement is an infielder for the Blue Jays, and a really good one. Okay, he made the Gold Glove finalists as a third baseman and as a utility player. So there's a chance he could win the Gold Glove at third base and win the Gold Glove as a utility player, which I find ridiculous. But Ernie Clement looks exactly like Aaron Boone, a younger Aaron Boone, who is the manager of the Yankees. And we got a text the other day from Brett Boone, Aaron's brother, watching the game on TV while we're doing it on the radio. And he said, he looks exactly like my brother. So then we called up the picture of Ray Boone, who is, of course, Aaron's grandfather who played in the major leagues. He looks exactly like Aaron. Therefore, he looks exactly like Ernie Clement. So there the Blue Jays knocked the Yankees out of the playoffs, and their second baseman / third baseman looks exactly like the manager of the Yankees. And get this. I'm sorry to belabor this, but Ernie Clement is wearing a baseball glove in the game that he bought on eBay several months ago. He bought a glove on eBay, and now it is his game glove in the major leagues.
He had like 10 hits in the last series, didn't he?
He had 9 hits in the Yankee series. 9. He had 12 hits now in the postseason. He's a good major league player, and he's a great defender at every position. And he bought a glove on eBay, and now he has to wear a batting glove underneath his glove because, as he explained to me, there's no padding in this glove because it's so old, but it fits him perfectly. He bought a glove on eBay, and now he uses it as a potential Gold Glove infielder.